He definitely is.
Yeah,
He definitely is.
I'm a genuinely nice person. What are you talking about?
No, you really aren't. Because you want to know what's crazy? What's his name? What's my guy's name? Mad Max on Discord. He says he got 50 bands on your head. So
He got 50 bands on Zeno head. No, that's funny as hell.
He got 50 bands on Zeno. So yeah,
That's
and I added 25 last night too.
Whoa, 75K on my head. I didn't know I was
on your head, nigga.
I was 75K on Zeno is a massive overpay, man. I ain't gonna lie.
Exactly. I ain't gonna hold you, dog. All right, I don't know how you giving me 75K. That's crazy.
You did not use that passport, boy. And they used that passport.
Oh, that
boy Max wasn't playing. He had names too. He said he got Roger. He said he got Roger for your ass. Who the hell is Roger? But okay.
Nah, what's going on? That shit on him.
Bro is wilding out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
She goes crazy at 10 o'clock at night.
All right. So it's the off season.
Yep. What's going on, guys? It's episode 12. 12 weeks of doing this shit is crazy. Playing alongside Zeno, like we know what the hell we're doing. But this is episode 12 of the off season. We have a special guest, none other than Gifted Hoops. What's going on, man? What's going on?
What's good? Hey, man, Zeno hit me up. He asked if I could be on, and I'm super down. I'm always supporting content creators, trying to get the best of what's happening. And right now, we're in the off season, but we about to be in the season. We only got like 9 more days, and then we got real NBA hoops. So we made it, man. We made it.
Who you telling?
And I
it was definitely a struggle too. Finding content during the off season.
Oh yeah.
How boring this shit got. But now we here. All right, guys. So real quick, before we dive into our two teams for this week, we're gonna talk about the top 10 list that was given out by ESPN, and it's pretty nasty. I'm gonna do a little ticker so that you guys can be able to see. At 10 is Anthony Davis. 9 is LeBron James. 8th is Shea. 7th is Kevin Durant. 6th is Jason Tatum. 5th is Stephen Curry. 4th is Luka. 3rd is Joel Embiid. Number 2 belongs to Nikola Jokic. And the number 1 spot is none other than Mr. Giannis Antetokounmpo. So, Zeno, we'll start with you. Which part of this was nastier to you?
The nastiest part is the fact that you started off with me. That's crazy.
Because he know. I know. Because you know he's going to be on.
Yeah. Let's start off with our guest, please. Thank you very much.
No, we're starting off with you. We said your name.
Why are you always hating on me, man? I was actually doing something in the background. That's why I wanted the guest to start. You're so nasty.
You could have texted that in the private chat, Gifted. El Zeno, bro.
El Zeno.
I'm a genuine person, man. That's crazy. Hating ass niggas, bro.
So for me, automatically, bro, I'm just gonna say one of these things is not like the other, and I think it's very clear the biggest standout. Giannis, Jokic, and Embiid being the top 3 players in that order is very hilarious to me. Not gonna lie to you. I respect Joel Embiid as a basketball player. I sure do, but you know goddamn well he's not the 3rd best player in the NBA. Jokic not being number 1 is funny to me. I think Jokic should be 1. For me personally, my top 3 is Jokic, Steph, and Giannis. I think that should be the top 3. I think Shea being at 8 is kind of high. I can understand why, but again, their list is based on projections. I don't agree with every projection, but Shea being top 8, I think he's more so in like the 12 to 10 range. I think Anthony Davis being at the bottom of 10 is kind of far for AD.
It's criminal.
I get how inconsistent he can be as, I guess, your number 1 option, but the defense, like, he's the reason why LA was even in position to do what they did last year. So I think AD should probably be a bit higher. I would probably move Shea down a bit. I got a question. So KD and Joel Embiid is an interesting conversation. I think Joel Embiid is the better regular season performer than KD. He also plays more games. But in the playoffs, I feel like Kevin Durant performs at a higher level. You can obviously say, well, every time Joel Embiid's hurt, but I kind of factor that into your availability as a top player in the playoffs when it matters most. I think that's a part of it. What's fair with that? Because I'm down to hear arguments for both players there.
We were, you know, what's funny? Me and Zeno literally had a debate about this Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday?
Yeah.
We literally had a whole debate about this. He thinks a legit case can be made that KD can be over Embiid. My whole thing is, I give you the availability. If we're talking strictly like availability, I think that the discussion ends there. KD probably gets the leg up on him because at least he's there in the postseason and healthy. But I feel like Joel Embiid, as far as like his offensive and defensive production in the regular season, is so high. Like in the regular season, if we're strictly talking regular season, Joel Embiid as a top 3 players, that shouldn't be a question. But when you add into the postseason how far he drops off, but I don't think the case can be made for KD because I don't think KD's game just jumps up that high to where he is, you know, where he really has that room to be above Joel Embiid. Like I think even with the drop off of Joel Embiid in the playoffs, he's still that much better as far as a total package.
No, because I would say that KD's value is more consistent than Embiid due to Embiid's injury. And I think that's what you would take because he's more consistent, so you are aware of what he's most likely going to bring.
No.
Sorry. Jesus Christ. Almost choked on something. Also, I would also say that the added on effect that KD brought to the Suns team, especially making Devin Booker's shots look much more easier due to the fact until was it game 3 or game 4 when they actually started really pressing up on Booker. So Booker has had like the KD.
You talking about for the Clippers? You talking about in the Clipper series?
Clippers and Suns.
For the Clippers, it was game 3.
But I was saying essentially,
3, for the Clippers, it was game 3.
I was essentially saying that Booker was getting that KD impact. I'm not gonna lie to you. That you know how we've had this conversation before. You know, like how everyone says Steph gave KD more spacing because they were focusing on Steph on offense. That's essentially what was happening with KD and D-Book. But then when people start keying in on D-Book, he still was hitting at the same efficient rate. That's the only difference.
I think so. So like this is interesting, right? Because if you compare the impact that Steph had to get KD more looks and KD with Booker, I think the differences are kind of weird. So the KD Joel Embiid stuff, here's how I look at it, right? I agree with you. In terms of regular season, I would say Embiid probably clears KD. And I mainly say that because he's playing more games and on both ends, he's just a regular season monster. But KD is still a very efficient and effective player. Last year, I'm pretty sure he was 50, 40, 90, but it doesn't count because it's such like a small sample since he only played like 32 games. My only issue is when Joel Embiid hits the playoffs, it would be different if he fails slightly, but it's a pretty significant fall off to what his production is during the regular season. And I feel like for many years now, you can say that. I feel like for KD, his production also falls.
He was 50, 40, 90.
Yeah, it was 50, 49 on 50 games, essentially.
Yes. At one point, he was shooting, I think, 73% true shooting as well during.
It was 70%.
Nets. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, my thing with that, though, is when KD hits the playoffs, he's also declined as well. I think his last few postseasons have not been great. Obviously, Boston being the worst one there. But if you count out the Boston series, which obviously there's like a whole lot of context with there being no Ben Simmons, with Kyrie also being a very inept option for him as well, I still think Kevin Durant has higher moments in the playoffs and is more consistent than Joel Embiid. That's kind of my issue with this. But let me know if that's crazy.
What's your opinion on this? Is KD a regular season scorer than Embiid? I think it's up in the air. I think it's up in the air. Okay. Because
I think I'm not gonna lie to you. I would still give it to Embiid, but it would be like a slight edge. It'd be a slight edge. It'd be a slight edge.
That is tough for me because Kevin Durant during the regular season, I mean, like, I remember the peaks in his game. My thing with Embiid is just the load that he's had to carry. I think is very comparable to KD because remember, KD on the Nets had to carry a much bigger load than he did on the Suns. He actually got hurt as soon as he got to the Suns. So really, we're mainly evaluating his play on the Nets. And if you're saying Nets KD versus 76ers Embiid, I just think Embiid's a much better two-way player. But in terms of just scoring flat out, KD was a more efficient scorer. But I think Joel Embiid has more dominance in the post and like the gravity of that.
See, my problem with that is just the season prior, before he got James Harden, Joel Embiid was in an even more difficult situation than what KD was
Absolutely.
in.
Absolutely.
Yes. I feel like you can make the legit argument that Joel Embiid in this season was a beneficiary of circumstances. He got a full season of having James Harden alongside of him, but the season prior, up until the James Harden trade, he was basically doing a carry job of on his own, and he was averaging.
Respect Seth Curry. Respect Seth Curry.
Seth Curry was gone by that year. No. You're right. No, Seth Curry was there. But I mean.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Seth Curry looked like he was
crazy.
No,
but it wasn't like KD. It wasn't like KD was doing it without either Harden or Kyrie on the floor that season. Like, he had one or the other. What happened was KD and Kyrie went down, and James Harden got fed up because that's not what he came there for, and he wanted to move on. That's what happened. And so Joel Embiid was sitting there dealing with a Ben Simmons that from the beginning, he didn't have his second co-star.
Why are we talking about 2 years ago? Not last.
So then what I would do, right, is I would compare that run, right? Because I agree with you. Without Ben Simmons, Embiid's load was much higher. I would compare that load to the load KD had to carry this prior season. Yeah. I think that's like a fair comparison.
I mean, he had his second best player throughout that season, though. Kyrie was playing. Wasn't Kyrie playing?
No, Kyrie got
No.
Kyrie couldn't play, right? Because what?
Yeah, no. What Gifted and I are saying is fair enough that KD had a hard workload this past season for the Brooklyn Nets before he got sent to Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the season prior, Joel Embiid was in the same position. So an argument can be made that this season the roles were just switched.
I just want to say, no, Kyrie was playing throughout the whole season. The only time he didn't play was through around November, when he missed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. That's the only time he didn't really play throughout that whole season on the Brooklyn Nets. So
he was only 8 games because of the
8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
No, so it was 8 games due to I think he had a irritation or something like that.
Wasn't like the Amazon link thing that kept him out for some time?
Wasn't that in the beginning of the season though?
Yeah, it was in the beginning of the season. I think
that was after they
but the November is the beginning of the season. So that probably was. Yeah, that probably was.
Yeah, so he played like honestly like 40 games with KD at that time. And I'm pretty sure KD got injured one of the times, so like he was actually having to carry the load himself. So
wait, so are you making?
KD got injured at the end of the season. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, are you making the argument that KD didn't have a larger workload than Joel Embiid the season prior?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's closer than you think it is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I said it's close. Yeah, but we acknowledge it's close.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I said I would take Joel Embiid. I would take Joel Embiid's scoring value, but it's close. It's close because KD has the versatility, whereas Joel Embiid has the dominance.
I think KD's scoring in the regular season is low-key dominant itself, but
it's dominant, but Joel Embiid is more dominant.
Does he know? But anyways, let's carry on.
Is it not dominant in the regular season?
I think someone being able to take 2 dribbles into a mid-range and you cannot stop them is kind of insane. I think that's very dominant itself.
And I would say that for Joel Embiid, he can also do the same thing from the post area with his dominance and in terms of how consistently he bends a defense by getting to the free throw line as well. I think that's. I was just about
to say one of the critiques that was on KD, although he had like an amazing scoring season, was that his rim pressure had decreased. It had diminished this season. Okay, Joel Embiid didn't have that problem.
Maybe it's just for me, right? When people use the word dominance, I feel like certain players get like not mentioned by that.
100% on that. Yes.
Oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
think KD is one of those players because you know how I feel about D-Book, and how I said D-Book's mindset of scoring went from being more Kyrie-ish, where
More
he's allowing the
Kobe-ish.
defense to dictate where he's gonna take his shot, to more like KD / Kobe. No, I'm less Kobe, but more KD.
No. I remember I said Kobe.
Yeah, more like KD, like where KD's like, okay, I'm gonna get to this specific spot on the floor, and I'm gonna beat you to it, and then I want you to try and stop me when I rise up in front of you. That's what I feel like when it comes to, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's dominance in my opinion, because he's going to the same move. You know what he's doing, and he doesn't care. You need to stop him, type shit.
Yeah, but
that's
Joel B, but I get what you're saying.
Oh no. Me and you agree.
Oh,
I'm just saying that KD, I feel like KD has dominance.
No, you're basically saying he deserves more respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
He deserves. He definitely does. Definitely does.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I even agree with that though, because I feel like people gave him his respect during the regular season. I think I got to a point where people were trying to say he was better than Jokic during the regular season, because Jokic at the time early on.
Look, I don't know what I want to be in those circles.
No. I vividly remember KD was shooting like 72% true shooting during a stretch, right? Jokic, to start the season, to get Jamal going and to get MPJ going, wasn't scoring that much. He was like 18 points, 19 points with like a super efficient splits, and was pretty much averaging like nearly a early triple-double. But because of like the scoring, people looked at KD like, damn, like he's being so efficient and so effective. How is he not like the current MVP right now? Because also Brooklyn at that time was like going on like a huge heater win streak.
They were number 2 seed in the East.
Okay. So you're saying
yeah.
Wait, so are you saying like people were having discussions for him being the MVP or for him being better than Jokic?
Both.
Because I didn't hear anybody say that he was. I heard the argument for Joel Embiid being better than Jokic. People were making that argument, and I was like, that's nasty. But for KD,
you're speaking facts, not gonna lie.
The only thing I heard,
you got to remember the context, right? The context of it is KD and Kyrie won like 18 games straight, and they were super dominant. So during that stretch, KD was playing some of his best basketball, and at the time, Jokic was winning, sure, but the like individual scoring dominance, he wasn't trying to score 30 like a night. KD was doing that, and people viewed that like, wow, he's still in that conversation for the best player in the world. Like, that's where it was.
So do you think he's still in there?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. All right.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be real with you. At that time, Cade, it was so unconscious, and it wasn't a win streak.
It was
his mid.
I remember Gifted. Yeah, Gifted. I remember it wasn't a win streak. They won like 19-3. They were like super ahead. That's what it was. There wasn't on a win streak. It was just they were winning a lot more than people were thinking. But
Zeno eating?
He's definitely eating, yeah.
Would you stop hating on me, guys? Jesus. 18 minutes into this, and you guys cannot stop hating on me. That's crazy.
We just had to point out the fact. It was a fact. It's a fact. You're eating, correct?
I hate you,
I don't know. But no, I'm not gonna lie to you. The nastiest part of this whole thing is Shai Gilgeous being like in the 8th spot ahead of AD. And I know what you were thinking, Zeno. I know you were thinking I was gonna push D-Book propaganda, but I'm not even mad if Shai is over D-Book, because I think like there is an argument that can be made, barely, but you can make it. But him being ahead of AD, with AD's defense being so like it was so elite this year. And regardless of what you want to say about his inconsistency offensively, he's still reliable on that end. I think you call it a play finisher. Him being a play finisher, being like arguably like the best option, while being by far the best defender in the league. Like, it's not. We need to say that more often on the show. AD is the best defender in the NBA, and it's not close. It's not close. So I think with those two things being true, the least I'm putting him at is like the 6th spot. That's the least. That's the least.
No, I can see him being a little bit lower if you're low due to his injuries.
Oh, okay. If you're low,
I understand.
I guess if you're low on defense, but
no, not defense. Injuries. You remember he didn't play much.
He was healthy this year.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. I looked at it. He played like 60-something games.
Almost saying that. Almost saying.
Yeah, let me make sure. Let me make sure. No, I'm not lying to you.
He played 56 games. That's,
I apologize.
Yeah. Good job. No problems, bro.
Yeah. 56 games.
56
Okay,
games
so,
is
okay,
another
so,
game.
yeah, so if the injury bug is like your claim, then okay, but then at that point, if the injury bug means that much to you, don't put him in. Don't put him in there. And don't put
no,
Kawhi
that's
in
crazy.
there.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Don't put
Relax.
Kawhi in there either.
Whoa. Take a breather. You can't do that to AD. AD bring too much value and has played enough games.
No, I'm not saying he doesn't bring value. I'm saying if the reason for him, when healthy, not being over some of these players is because he gets injured too much, then one, take Joel Embiid out of the top 3.
Why is Joel Embiid still getting slandered?
Hold on.
I don't think that's slander.
I'm saying, take Joel Embiid out of there. 2, take Joel Embiid out of the top 3. 2, take KD out of the top 7. Take AD all the way back. Get Kawhi Leonard out of there. Like there's a whole bunch of players where if we're talking
about, we take out Giannis too?
Huh?
We take out Giannis too.
Take out Giannis too.
For the coach.
Like I'm like if we're gonna be consistent, let's be consistent then.
Hey, because keep in mind,
your top 3 no. To be fact as another fact, if we're gonna talk about injuries, get Curry out of there too, because Curry was injured this past year too.
I was gonna say, hey, if you're gonna be real honest with yourself, hey, Embiid actually played more games than the majority of them. I think he played more games than Steph too.
But like,
he got injured in the playoffs.
Yeah. He played more.
I think the biggest problem is the fact that Joel Embiid cannot make it past the first round of the playoffs without being injured every single year. And me personally, like, if you're missing a bunch of time in the regular season, I understand that these players are getting older. I get what happens with that. But at a certain point, if you're missing time in the playoffs consistently after the first round, and you're also not having dominant signature playoff, averages in the second round because of that, when your team needs you to ball out, then that's a problem. I think that's a problem.
It is.
I
agree. But I just, my whole problem is they're not consistent enough. They're not consistent enough.
But like I don't care too much about ESPN's list because it's been clickbait for like a couple years now. Like almost every year they have Luka over Steph, almost every single year. At some point it's going to be true because Luka is a younger player, Curry's aging out, so at some point that's going to happen. But they do shit like this all the time. And the fact that Giannis is number 1 after what Jokic
just did, yeah.
Even after the players you think of, like many players play better than Giannis in the playoffs. And to be fair, Giannis got hurt in the playoffs. I get that, I hear that, but I just don't think it's like 100% genuine. It's a projection, so maybe because Dame is on Giannis's team, they just think that Giannis. Yeah, but I just hate the fact that because Giannis gets Dame, now that makes Giannis the best player. I don't understand that logic.
I'm liking the way Gifted is talking. Is making the Embiid number 2 propaganda sound much more better. Oh yes, thank you. Carry on, Gifted.
And he wonders why I shit on Joel Embiid whenever I get a chance.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I can't. I can't.
I'm taking a couple players before I take Joel Embiid in the playoffs for me personally.
Yes. Okay.
Shoot, you want to think of some? You want me to give you some names? I'll take over Joel Embiid.
Okay, Golden State fan.
You want me to think of some names? I'll take over Joel Embiid.
I don't know what you mean by Golden State fan because I'm definitely taking Curry over Joel Embiid.
I would take Curry over. I would take Curry over Embiid as well. I would take Curry over Embiid in the regular season as well.
Does he know? Do you know?
Do you know?
I do know. Does Joel even better than Luka?
No, Luka's better.
I would take Luka over Embiid
too. I would take Luka over Joel Embiid.
I would take Embiid over Luka. I would take Luka over Embiid too.
It's sad to see they don't know.
I would take Jokic over Embiid. I'd take Giannis over Embiid. I'd take KD over Embiid in the playoffs.
Okay. You can.
I'd take KD over Embiid.
I'm taking Jimmy Butler over Joel Embiid in the playoffs as well.
Okay, so Golden State's off-season recap.
Hey, gifted. I'll take
Golden State's off-season recap.
It's a little shaky.
It's a little dicey.
He showed up for them game 6s though.
Tatum's a better playoff performer than Joel Embiid in the playoffs so far. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but that is technically true.
It is like, come on, man. Like, let's split that.
Golden State Warriors off-season recap. I'm trying.
I like how you pulled up the banner before I did.
He pulled that shit up so fast. Okay.
Jesus
All right,
Christ.
all right.
I don't
So,
like this
guys, so
goddamn-
you know this part of the episode is where we get into the first team. The first team is none other than Gifted's favorite team, Golden State Warriors, helmed by Stephen Curry. Let's talk a little bit before we go into like what they did in the offseason. Let's talk about the key storylines. So far, transferring from last season to this season. Do you want to take that over real quick before I go into it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just get this out the way. Draymond punched Jordan Poole. There was a huge issue during the regular season with people like, oh, he punched him. How's he gonna ever recover? You had some Golden State fans trying to say, well, Poole was inconsistent because Draymond punched him, and then you had other Golden State fans like myself that says him getting punched in the face is no excuse for being barbecue chicken on defense. I don't care. I'm sorry. I think this season was a very turbulent one for the Warriors because of all the injuries. Andrew Wiggins, who normally plays like 60 to 73 games a season, he barely misses any time, only played 37 last year. Their on-ball perimeter defense to start the year was atrocious. It was bad. And the first 10 games, they took losses to, I'm pretty sure, Miami, Charlotte, the Magic, and some other bad teams because that's how inconsistent their bench production was, especially from a defensive side. They were trying to play James Wiseman and fully integrate him after he finally had a healthy offseason, and he was terrible defensively. He showed some flashes guarding, not in pick and roll, but more so on switches. But even then, it wasn't like a championship level type of defense. So they trade him for GP2. Once they get him back, he completely tilts how they play perimeter defense, and they're a much more consistent team. They also had the worst roll record, I think, in the NBA. I could be wrong, but it was really bad. They were
I think it was.
Yeah, they were a completely different team at home versus on the road. At home, I'm pretty sure they were top 5 in offense and defense. On the road, they were bottom. I like damn near like the 27th or 28th ranked defense. They gave up hella corner threes. It was just bad. But later in the season, once they got a GP2, things started to get better. And then they go into the playoffs. So that's how the regular season went. Steph Curry, I don't want this to be lost on anybody. The way he started the season, he was MVP caliber. He was shooting 70% true shooting himself on volume with his threes. And Poole was atrocious to start the year, and so was Clay. So Steph was really carrying this team at a super high level. The first time that he goes down, this team actually maintains 500. And Steph finished his season almost shooting 50, 40, 90. He was very, very efficient this year from the guard position.
Okay, yeah.
Until he got that ass spanked in what's called in the second round. But yeah, let's keep him moving.
Wait, what'd you say?
Actually, I should never say that. Actually, I'm not gonna speak because I just realized.
I was about to say,
if you guys will start bringing up Philly.
It's really not hard. It's really not hard.
Do you want to get cooked? Like they like?
Hey, you don't have a reason to talk, Mister. Got packed up in the first round. I don't hear from you. You are most people.
Okay, you got packed up in the first round. Who's your team?
He's me. He's the Bucks. Although they have,
that's. I did not think you was gonna say. I did not think you was gonna say Bucks.
One thing that Zeno, you got to give me credit for. Even though I'm a Bucks fan, I'm very critical of them. So I understand they don't really have any room to like gloat or anything, like they just won something. Even with this Dame trade, they could still like very easily lose to the Boston Celtics. That's the only thing. But they can still very
superstars are running dunk. He's a running dunk merchant. Damn. Does he know? He doesn't know. He
could be a running down merchant all he wants to, but his defense is more powerful than like 90% of the NBA. He's a better playmaker than your best player, and that's all that matters.
Show half court skill. Show half.
Show Joel Embiid's playmaking skills.
Okay. Show actually being able to run an offense in half court.
Show Joel Embiid being able to run
Are
an
you saying
offense
Joel
outside of
Embiid's
just
running?
being
Wait,
He's not running. He's not running.
That's what I'm saying. Show Joel Embiid running an
I'm not saying
offense.
he's not running. I'm saying that he's actually able to work in the half court. Can Giannis work in the half court?
Because he has the best playmaker.
I just want to say real quick, like I hate to do this, right? I hate to do this, right? But like, if you look at the numbers, James Harden was juicing Joel Embiid's production a lot this season. He was.
What I'm saying is gifted. Maybe get a better playmaker. That's what I have to say. Ain't my fault that he didn't have a playmaker.
I mean, they got Dame now, so
yeah, they got Dame now, so they got a better player than James Harden. So now you finna see 30 point per game Giannis. I don't know, maybe. If you put Zion over Giannis, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know.
I mean, Zion is very efficient though. Like, I don't want to play with his name.
No, he's very efficient, but like as far as like a total package,
I think Zion is one of the most unstoppable offensive weapons in the league. Yeah.
Is close. I think the conversation is close, but I think the fact that Giannis attempts in outside of the basket every now and again, I think that could.
I mean, that's cool, but that would actually be an argument for Zion because Zion actually has more touch around the basket and is more unstoppable from that perspective.
I thought that Giannis still had the better finishing percentage.
I know Zion has better touch. This year, I don't want to compare because he only played 29 games. I'm going to take Giannis every time, obviously, but I'm just saying in terms of skill set, Zion is more skilled in terms of touch at the basket.
At the basket. Yeah. I guess because it does a degree of difficulty does take into account. So yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as far as the Golden State Warriors off season went, they lost a few players actually. so they lost Patrick Baldwin.
We don't listen to you, Daryl.
They put the trade into Washington. What did Daryl say?
He said if it wasn't for Harden, Joel wouldn't be putting up the numbers here.
Harden did get him that.
Harden did give him his best.
All I have to say to you guys is get a better playmaker. I don't want to say to you. Get a better playmaker. Maybe if you had Harden,
look, and all I will tell you is have Joel Embiid practice on playmaking out of the post.
Yeah, and I will tell you have Giannis develop any type of post moves. How about that?
That would also be good for Giannis to do that. I will.
All right,
I will say that.
All right, carry on.
Hold on, can we say? Hold on, have Steph Curry practice on defense more? I don't know.
Have Steph practice on defense.
Yes. Glaze. Yeah, hate on Steph defense, but he's a guard. You're right.
Look, if that's the only thing that
you're right. All right. Bro hating for no reason. That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Look, I'm like, shit. He just sitting there, just like moderating.
I'm just here moderating shit right now.
Look, tell Clay to be a better defender.
Damn.
I guess. I mean,
tell
Clay for Giannis and Joel Embiid. Sure. I mean,
tell Draymond Green, to look at the rim.
I tell Joel Embiid to get the ball when it matters in the fourth quarter and not cry about it in a post game after the playoffs end. Like, I should have got the ball. I'm the MVP.
Hey, gifted. Tell Joel Embiid to tell Joel Embiid to not fade away on a 6'3" Marcus Smart every time he gets him in.
Oh, God, I remember that. Oh, Lord. I remember that.
It was cool. Tell Draymond Green.
Nah, Zeno, he did do that, though. We saw him do that together in the Discord.
Yes, he did.
We watched his ass fade over Marcus Smart, and you ain't say shit. You ain't say nothing while that was happening.
I couldn't. I'm not going to lie to you.
I know that was nasty,
himself. That shit was nasty, bro.
I know, bro. I know. I was so mad when I saw that shit. I was like, bro, no way. But no, so they traded Patrick Baldwin to Washington along with Jordan Poole. They let Dante DiVincenzo go, who he signed with New York. They let JaMychal Green go. Andre Iguodala, I think, retired, or they let him go, one or the other. I think they let Ty Jerome go as well. He went to Cleveland. These basically miscellaneous pieces. The most important part is Jordan Poole got traded to Washington for none other than 75-year-old Chris Paul. Let's go, guys.
Let's go. So I'm going to give you guys a quick story. I was at work. I was driving, And my friend called me and said we made the trade, and I was laughing because he always be fucking with me and shit. So I'm like, that's funny because I'm a Chris Paul hater. I don't like Chris Paul personally.
Let's go.
So when I realized that happened, I'm like, so now I have Chris Paul on my team making $30 million. Now, initially, I was very tight, but then when I looked at it, I was still very fucking tight. I don't want Chris Paul to be on this roster, but objectively, I do think, considering how Poole played last year, the biggest issue with Poole is his floor was insanely low, but he does have a high ceiling. He had multiple games where he performed at a super high level, but he's never consistent in terms of getting to the basket. I kept saying he can get by pretty much any defender. He just wants to shoot the three so much instead of just getting to the paint first and that opening up his game. Chris Paul, as a veteran point guard, is going to come in and man the bench unit to where it's going to be a bit more consistent and productive. I also think that adding Dario Saric as a spacer and a passer in the system makes a ton of sense. Again, having GP at the start of the year is going to help our perimeter defense. GP is like that spark plug who comes in and changes things defensively so the intensity can pick up a lot. Also, Brandon Pods, which I'm not sure how much time he's going to realistically get during the season, but Pod so far has been playing outstanding basketball, almost had a triple-double in a preseason game, and how he plays in terms of dictating pace, pull-up shooting, and making the right reads, I think he can fit in pretty well there. So there's things that I like about this team, but more importantly, this year to me is really about raising the value of the young talent. Kuminga is a player that I felt like played a very good regular season. He had moments where when Curry was hurt, Kuminga was a closer for us, and he closed playing defense against Kawhi Leonard, Tatum's, and like other really good wings. And he was playing really good defense. And for whatever reason, he wasn't given the opportunity to play like that in the playoffs. Moses Moody was the complete opposite. He barely played at all during the regular season, but in the playoffs when it mattered, he got that trust because of his attention to detail with his three-point shooting and the offensive rebounding. So if those two guys can continue to make big leaps for this year, it changes a lot for this roster because anytime Kuminga is checked in so far in the preseason games, you see us getting quality looks and rim pressure. And as a two-way player, he's the most athletic guy on our team, and our team doesn't have a whole bunch of athleticism. We just have a bunch of older people who know how to play.
I disagree. So, I disagree.
Yeah.
I think you guys.
Okay.
I think the athleticism that you guys have more than enough. I would still consider Steph Curry athletic. I think GP2 is athletic. Kuminga is athletic. Andrew Wiggins is athletic.
Well, you know what? I more so mean like from the front court spot because obviously we have.
Okay. Yeah. I get you. Because Dario Saric is not athletic at all. So not at all.
Shout out to Philly legend Dario Saric. Sorry, Karen.
I'm not gonna lie to you. He sort of went off of the rails. Like I forgot he was still in the league. He played for the Thunder last season. Mm-hmm. And so when they picked him up, I was like, damn, this nigga's still here? Like, what the fuck? But he has value as a stretch. He has value as a stretch. And I think quite as kept, he's actually a solid passer.
He's a good passer. He can hit threes, not just from the corner, but like actually space it out. And there have already been plays where you see the positive impact of that. But my main thing is for a team that's small, you have to have good rebounding, and your wings have to be able to play good defense. So
that's what I was gonna say. The biggest issue about Dario Saric is on the defensive end. He is not a good defender. Yeah. He's not necessarily a great rebounder, so also he doesn't give you that value.
My thing is,
I don't think he has to be though.
My thing is you're playing on the front. You're playing. Your bench is GP2, along with Chris Paul, most likely. Yeah, Kuminga, Moses Moody, and then you got Saric at the 5. So you have 3 out of that 5 are great defenders, or potentially great defenders, along with 1 solid perimeter defender. And then Saric, only problem that you'll probably have is when it comes to rim protection. But when you're going up against the second unit, like rim protection isn't as pivotal. So I think that would be just fine. And Saric is not going to be getting like playoff minutes like that in like later in the season anyway. To where
Dario is like Bielitsa part 2. That's what he is for.
Yeah, so I feel like I think if anything, he's more of just like a gap filler for when Draymond and Kevon Looney come off of the floor, for him to have some valuable minutes. If not for anything, it could be offense or defensively. His just so happened to be offensively. I think the more the players that are more that we need to watch more on the Warriors is Kuminga's development, because I know y'all been seeing these last 2 games in the preseason, and Moses Moody. How do they can they develop at the same rhythm? Because I feel like a little bit of Kuminga's development has gotten stunted a little bit because Moses Moody is like Steve Kerr's guy, it feels like, because he's giving him a lot of minutes and stuff like that. So like I'm watching the preseason, and Kuminga's getting a lot more minutes for him to be able to get into rhythm.
And he's pushing the pace too.
And he's pushing the pace. So like I'm not even gonna lie to you. I think an argument can be made that by getting rid of Jordan Poole, those minutes that he had are now going to be spread around to different players that are now going to make them even more dangerous than they were last season.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I don't think you're going to replace Poole being there every single night or what he does as a guard. But in terms of like giving other guys on ball reps and the opportunity to, you know, flourish, I think that is where we have to be better. I think the biggest difference, though, is the pushing of the pace and the rebounding from Kuminga. Like, we don't have that many guys that can take the ball from the three-point line and consistently apply rim pressure. Kuminga has to be able to fill that void, because even Andrew Wiggins right now is kind of settling for a lot of threes and not really getting to the basket as much. It's really just, you know, Steph and occasionally Draymond in the short roll. So having these guys come in and produce at a level is important, because Moody and Kuminga are like 6'6", 6'8", like bigger bodies who can, you know, impact the game with their length. And also the shooting touch of both Kuminga and Moody has looked really good in preseason. And even last year, they showed you signs that they can be capable shooters on the perimeter. So
just think of how
adding those feats.
Just think of how dangerous the Warriors would be with a lineup. Like if they develop the way they are between Moody and Kuminga, just think of a starting lineup of Steph, Moses Moody, A. Wiggs at the 3, Kuminga at the 4, and Draymond at the 5. Or Looney at the 5, whichever one. Like like just think of how elite that line would be. Like they wouldn't even have to be a superior rebounding team, because they would be running gun. The threes would be efficient, and they would be elite around the rim.
Yeah,
like I like it. So real quick before we move on to the next team, I need predictions. Give me predictions, expectations.
Yeah, so I expect this team to be somewhere within the 1 through 5 range. 6 seed is also possible. I think the Warriors are a team that are going to make the playoffs. I say this because largely their roster is going to be the same. They have the continuity. They're banking on their younger players to be more productive, which I don't think is necessarily crazy considering how we saw Moses Moody play in the playoffs, and how we saw Kuminga produce last year as well. Chris Paul is an older man. I definitely understand this, but I think him playing in a limited role off of our bench to maximize those other players can work as well. And I expect Steph Curry to still be MVP caliber Steph Curry. Last year, he was extremely good. I think this year can be more of the same. But with the injury stuff with him, objectively, I don't think there's anyone on this team who could reach the ceiling offensively that Poole can individually by himself outside of Clay. And even then, Clay is more so like going to shot chuck up to maybe 50, points. Like that's what he does. So in terms of a guard to create the way Poole can at his ceiling, I don't think we have that, but we have more depth to do things than we did last year. And I think that is going to be the real test. I think our defense is going to be better than last year, because remember, Andrew Wiggins only played 37 games and we were absolutely atrocious on the road. I don't think that same thing happens this year, but I still don't think that we're a tier 1 team. I think they have the capability to beat any team in the NBA in the playoffs. I think that's there.
Outside the Lakers.
Even including the Lakers, I would say that as well. But I don't think that they have the clear ground.
They have the pieces. They have the pieces to be able to beat them.
I just don't think you count on it as much. I think this is more a transitional year with Chris Paul's contract to expand on the roster construction after Clay signs and make more moves for the next season. My point is you have to raise the value of these players if either they're going to be a part of this team long term, or if you're going to flip them next year for even more value. That's what this year is for me.
I get
Fair
you.
enough.
Zeno, you want to go next, or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
Okay, so before I give my expectation, I want to ask you guys: do you these teams in the Western Conference, do you expect them being better than this regular season? Okay, so do you expect them being better than Denver?
No.
No.
Okay, do you expect them being better than Memphis?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Sacramento,
No.
Maybe. No.
Phoenix,
I'll say hell no.
No. I
LA.
don't know about the hell no, but I'm gonna say no.
Hell no.
I don't know about the hell no.
There's a way that this Phoenix Suns team, we're gonna get into this.
They match up well with Phoenix to me. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
No,
yeah, the way this Phoenix Suns
are
team,
we talking seeding? Or are we talking about seeding or playing?
we're talking about seeding.
I think we're talking about seeding.
Yes,
Seeding.
that's why I said
Yeah.
head. That's why I said hell no.
But even then,
I still think it's not a hell no.
It's only injuries. Only injuries.
Okay. Okay, so do you have we'll get to that super chat in a second. So you have them over Denver, you have you have them over Memphis, you have them fighting with Sacramento, right?
I think Sacramento is going to be better. I have a hot take about them, but I'll leave that alone for now.
You can say it now if you want.
I want to get that. I want to get that before you leave. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have them over the Clippers?
Yes.
Okay. So do you have them over Minnesota?
No.
Okay. Do you have them over OKC?
Yes.
Okay. New Orleans?
Yes.
Dallas?
Does he know?
Yes.
Does he know?
Utah?
Yes.
Portland?
Yes.
Houston and San Antonio.
Yes.
I know you're gonna say yes. So yeah. Okay. So the only team that you don't objectively think they'll be better than this regular season is Denver, maybe Sacramento, Phoenix, and LA.
Yeah, those are the teams that are better. I think the Clippers are.
And Minnesota.
Yeah. I think the Clippers are like right there with the Warriors, though. I don't think it's like too far off. If you say that you think that they'll be better than them, I can see that. But I think they can edge them out. I think it's going to be very close between 5, 6, and maybe 7. So
I was just about to say, I think the reason why I was asking that is because I just wanted to make sure my thought process was on par with what I was thinking. I have them as a 6 seed. I think they'll be a 6 seed, solid 6 seed. Because I think the 5 teams that I think that in the regular season they're just either going to take a jump or they're just going to stay at the top is Sacramento, Denver, LA, Minnesota, and there's one extra team I'm forgetting. Phoenix.
Oh, right.
Phoenix.
Okay,
no. I think Memphis defense, they're gonna be the first team that I've seen in a while that defense is gonna be like probably like top 10, maybe even top 5, and their offense is gonna be like top 5 probably. So I think Golden State is sitting like at the 6th spot. And that's okay because I don't think that the thing that I appreciate hearing right now from you is that the Golden State Warriors fan base isn't looking for the Golden State Warriors to still like win a championship this year. Like if they win it, amazing, or if they even get to the Western Conference Finals, amazing. But the main thing is development.
That's what matters more than anything because my thing right now is like the floor of this team to me is higher than it was last year, but the ceiling isn't. And ultimately to win a title, their ceiling has to get higher, and you're only going to get that if you're getting better production from your young players to either keep in line with your current roster or flip them for more assets, especially after you move off of Chris Paul's contract.
I guess. I agree. Zeno, your turn.
I had them the 9th seed. I think they can easily become the 8th seed because the 8th seed for me is the Pelicans, and that's really just dependent on Zion's health. So if Zion's, then you're the 8th seed. So I think
is very high on the Pelicans too.
I hope Zion's too. By the way, he's one of my favorite.
Yeah, I hope he is too.
No. When I said Zion's, I mean Zion goes out for a whole.
That right?
No. I know. Last time we talked about the Pelicans, you were talking about how they have Herb Jones when Zion was on the floor. You have that elite finishing, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, stuff like that.
Don't talk about that terrorist, CJ McCollum, please. Thank you. Terrorist. Jesus.
But still. So you have them a 19. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wait, so what teams do you have ahead of? Do you think Dallas is gonna be ahead of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I have Suns, Nuggets, Lakers, Timberwolves, Mavs, Kings, Clippers, and the New Orleans Pelicans. To be fair, I have a range for them. I don't see. I wouldn't be mad if you have them 7th to 9th. To be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if they're the 6th seed. That's my range for them is like 6 to 9.
I just think that's how crazy the West is. Like, I don't get mad when people say Golden State's low because my thing is there's at least 12 playoff caliber teams, period. And
Exactly.
we have at least 2 good teams that are just not going to make it flat out. So, like, if you feel like it's Golden State because of the injury stuff with Steph, I get that. I just think that if you're going to tell me that our defense is going to be better than it was last year and we have more consistent bench production, I think the team's going to be better and can compete with every other team if that's the case.
I think they're better than the teams that are just have talent because they have talent with discipline, veterans, stuff like that. Like I think Portland and Houston, as far as talent wise, they have talent to be able to contend.
They do have talent,
but they don't have the veteran leadership. They don't have the discipline and
respect
the head coach.
Respect Ime.
I don't give a damn about Ime.
Wow.
Not when it comes to like players. Not when it comes to teams that has like Stephen Curry at the helm or Luka Doncic at the helm, or like those type of players that they know what it takes for them to just survive a regular season to get to the postseason. More Steph Curry than Luka, but still. So like I don't know that I think Golden State at the very least should be a 6 seed just because like I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in Zion Williamson making it through an 82 game season. And I think the Pelicans showed when you don't have Zion on the floor, it get real ugly down there. Offensively.
I think it's hard because I think the 2 hardest teams to gauge are the Pelicans and the Mavericks. And I say because
the Clippers, but Karen.
No.
I thought you were gonna say the Clippers.
No, I say the Mavericks and the Pelicans because the Mavericks, to me, Luka and Kyrie are going to be a special offensive duo. They're probably going to have like a top 10 offense based on all of the advantages that both of them can create and how Kyrie can increase pace. But my problem is their best wing defender is very questionable. Their center is very questionable. And I think the size going up against these other teams and the depth that they don't have makes me question how good they're going to be. I think Golden State, in comparison, at least they have a big man option, but they also have Draymond Green, who is a very good floor raiser for the defense, and they have Steph. I think they have more offensive talent with Kyrie, and Luka, and how both of them can execute well in the half court, but the defense of Dallas comes into question for me. And also, if we're doing the whole durability thing, I think Luka and Kyrie both missed a ton of games at the tail end of last year, and even Kyrie right now is not playing in preseason because of injury. So
I thought Luka got set though. I thought Luka got set. I thought Luka got set. Like he was set for the rest of the season.
No, so like
he played 60. Yeah, he played 66 games.
No, yeah. So like he got sat, but he also had like an ankle injury he was dealing with. It wasn't too crazy. Kyrie though is like injury.
Kyrie, yeah.
Will something else happen? Now, I'm not putting that on Kyrie. I like Kyrie, so we'll see what happens. But I just think they have a lot of question marks. And that front court defense is like, I really don't know how that's going to hold up in the Western Conference with a bunch of athletic teams who have the wings and the guards who can really exploit that type of matchup defensively. I like our bench better, and I like our overall identity better.
Okay, then.
I don't know if you've seen the preseason. You know how nasty their offense looks?
I would love to carry
cooking them.
I would love to carry this on. I would love to carry this on, but let's get to the super chat. Will any CP3 deadline trades like the Lakers flip Ross pop up?
That's a good ass question, but I really doubt that this team moves on from Chris Paul at the deadline, considering all the effort that they put into trying to work him in for this 1 year. I think they're going to keep him for better or for worse, and just use his expiring contract as the main value to make the team better after the fact.
Because I think he has a purpose on this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has a purpose on this team.
Being one of the most I think for the amount of volume, he ran the most PNR in the whole league.
Probably.
Yes. So
Well, even just his what do you call him? A connector?
Yeah.
Just being a connector. I think
Basically like the initial secondary passing, quickly understand what to do with the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I think he showed that in one of those plays where Clay was cutting and the pass got to him and he immediately got
great
to Clay.
pass from that right baseline. Yeah,
Clay didn't even see it coming.
He didn't even know he was going to be that open, so he didn't shoot immediately, and then he missed it. But those are the types of reads that Chris Paul is going to make for sure.
Yeah. So I think he has. I think he has plays on this.
Yes. Yeah, so the last thing I need to ask you for, because it's getting closer for you to leave, could you give us that
that Sacramento Kings hot take?
Oh yeah. So I kind of feel like the Kings are going to be the 1 seed this year. I'm not 100% sold on it, but I feel very strong about it, and the reason why is because how I look at NBA basketball during the regular season is I try to evaluate what is going to be consistent, what's going to drop off, right? What about the Kings offense would not be consistent from last year compared to this year? They had the best offensive rating last year. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, their team was healthy, but they had a lot of guys playing through injury. Sabonis actually could have gotten surgery, but he chose not to, and he played through that. And I think because of how they play versus Golden State in the playoffs, a lot of people just think that they're like this team that won't be good anymore. But I think they have a lot of continuity coming into the regular season. And I think that that's going to actually take them far as a regular season team. Now in the playoffs, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be as good. I think they still have question marks from that perspective. But in terms of regular season basketball, I think they could be pretty good.
It's so nice. Gifted, it is so nice for me not to be on the receiving end of this for once.
I don't know what Zeno's doing right now.
This is his part, Chad, where he asks Chad, do they know?
Does he know? I don't think he knows, dog.
Okay, so break down to me what's crazy about that.
You're falling in love with that DHO merchant. That is crazy, man.
You're just hating on that DHO merchant, bro.
That's hating. I just think people don't know how to separate regular season value to playoff value. I think those are two different things.
If I'm gonna be genuinely serious for a quick second, I do believe what you're saying. It has some merit to it because at the end of the day, they already showed last season that in the regular season it's very hard to stop that offense due to the fact that one, they're a really good transition team. In the half court, the advantage that Sabonis creates just off the dribble handoff is enough for the team to start getting into rotation. They have good road connectors as well, so that's why their offense is very potent. But sorry, I don't like that DHO merchant. So they
listen. I get it, and I'm not mad at you. Right?
At least you're honest about your hate. At least you're honest about your hate.
I just think when it comes down to evaluating the Kings, right? Obviously, people are going to point to how they perform defensively, but what a lot of people don't know is on the road they were like a top 15 defense, if not higher. But at home, they really struggled defensively. And I think that with this team, the fact that they kept all their pieces, they added Sasha, who is a phenomenal shooter from the front court. And they have Keegan Murray, who can take a step, which I think he will. Even though he was bad. Yeah, he was bad in like the first 3 games of the Golden State playoff series, but then he picked it up dramatically at the end. I think if he's coming in with more on-ball reps, attacking closeouts more, he can bend that Kings offense even further. And if you're telling me that, it's going to be at least like a top 5 offense. And I think because of that, younger teams who can play that style and also have a big man who can rebound the hell out of the ball, I think that's going to take you a long way during the regular season.
I agree. I don't think that they can make a number 1 seed just because I think they have too much of a hill to climb when it comes to like teams that are just more well-rounded. Like Denver is just better well-rounded.
Look, I'm happy to say that because my main argument is you're right? But I think with Denver, what they showed us last year is once they have the wins and their position is secure, they don't care about the regular season. And I think after winning a championship and having a lesser offseason than all of these other teams who have had more time to rest, I think Denver is going to coast and be like.
But they're not the only team. I think the Lakers are better well-rounded than Sacramento as well.
I think Sacramento has more depth and they're younger, so they're going to care more for the regular season than LA will.
That's fair if you basically think that LeBron and AD are going to have like another 60, barely 60-ish games played this season.
I think LA is going to probably be like a 4 seed, 5 seed. I think that's fair to say. I just think the Kings are in a position where they're going to be wanting to prove that they're not a fluky team. Their offense seems to be more of the same with more continuity, with internal development. I think Fox is going to still be a very good player. And the brand of offense they play is extremely high paced to where if you are a older team and you can't keep up, they can catch you on pretty much any given night. And I think they're going to just care more about putting their foot down in the regular season. I think these other teams are probably better than them in the playoffs for sure, but I don't think during the regular season they're going to care to want to be as dominant as the Kings will.
I think an argument can be made that Timberwolves are quiet as kept.
And listen, I had the Timberwolves as a top 4 seed for that very reason.
I like that. I like that take. I like that take more.
I don't like. You know why I don't like? You know I don't like how you two are having this connection. Let's cut this up, guys. let's cut this up, guys.
That's funny.
All right. Real quick, I know you got to head out, right? Or do you got a little more time?
I think I have a bit more time. The game probably starts at 7:10, so I probably have like 6 more minutes.
Okay, all right. I just want to get you. I want to get your quick take on the Phoenix Suns and their offseason.
Okay, gotcha. Basically, Suns defense was ass. They traded Aiden for Nurkic, who is a worse defender, even though Aiden sucked for Phoenix as well. I think Nurkic is a very poor defender. Granted, prime Nurkic was a much better defender, but obviously
never was.
Let me finish this. He was a better defender than what he is now at his prime. This is true. But the rebounding effort, I understand. Like his rebounding and passing is going to be the number one thing that he provides to the team. But once you add Nurkic, Booker, Kevin Durant, Beal, and Nurkic, 3 of those 4 names are extremely injury prone. How does that really sustain itself during the regular season and playoffs? We got to see it. I still think if your best wing defender is Josh Okogie, you have a problem defensively pretty dramatically. And the idea of running Bradley Beal as the point guard and having Bradley Beal and Nurkic be the guys who are trying to operate a pick and roll defensively, I think that's very nasty. But I think they have the star power to still outlast a bunch of teams during the regular season. My biggest question for the Suns is your main diet of shots going to still be mid-range shots? Because I said this last year in the playoffs, you can shoot the mid-range as well as you want. If you're playing a team that is going to out-rebound you, get more stops, and shoot more threes, you cannot keep up with those teams if your main diet is mid-range. That's the question for the Suns to me. But they made the best moves they could around the margin. I think Aiden just wasn't going to fit. So from that perspective, I get it, but he's still much better than Nurkic is.
I think that they actually made a lot of good pickups, and I think that the Suns right now are much more deeper than they were last season. I think that's a plus in itself. They have a lot more playable pieces. I think what you said for the most part is true, but I think that's why they have Beal, because Beal is actually I think Beal's going to tailor make his game around the other two. So I think he's going to focus more on attacking the rim, because he understood that was one of the biggest issues for them last season. I think he's going to be spacing the floor more as a three-point shooter as well. So I think he's going to be operating more in the three-point line and the attacking the rim, because Booker can do that. He's capable, but KD is less capable to do that due to, the Achilles injuries, which sapped his movement. So I think that's athleticism is the word I'm looking for. So I think that's what Beal is going to try and work to mitigate, which is, as I told you earlier, he's going to mitigate the rim finishing issue and trying to space the floor out as a three-point shooter. I think that's what Beal is there for.
I think another thing that like both of you guys are like low-key sleeping on. There's a player that they signed from the San Antonio Spurs, Keita Bates-Diop.
He's good.
He's a 6'8". He's a 6'8" forward who's able to combine between like the 3 or 4, depending on where you want him. He's more valuable as like a 4, fair enough. But he is like developed like quiet as kept as a quality 3 and D player. More defense than 3, but he cannot. He's grown to be more capable in San Antonio as a 3-point shooter, a reliable 3-point shooter. So I think he's the bridge that the Phoenix Suns need for them to be like that threat that we think that they should be in the postseason. Because fair enough, you can't have D-Book and Bradley Beal guarding these elite like forwards that's like 6'7" and taller, because these are 6'5" guards, and KD at his age, you just don't want playing like that level of defense in the postseason. So Diop being like that player, being 6'8", a quality shooter, and being able to play defense, I think he could be that gate that gives them that reliability that they need at the 3 spot. Because I think that's the main hole. People have been talking about like the center spot, whether they had DeAndre Ayton or Nurkic. I think we spoke about this on Desto's show when I told you I think they swapped out talent for obedience. They didn't want DeAndre Ayton there because, as talented as he is, he just didn't want to be there. Whereas now you got Nurkic there. Nurkic is willing to cooperate with whatever you ask him to do. He is not the player that DeAndre Ayton is, but he's compliant with what they want to do there. So they have that answer. So now the only answer that they really need to have is that versatile 3 that's tall enough to guard the LeBrons and such, and give KD sort of a relaxation on the defensive end to where he can be his max productive self on the offensive end.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of these things. I just feel like, again, like their shot diet is going to be the biggest question for me. I think Bradley Beal as a point guard is really just there because ultimately you fear Booker and KD as off-ball spacers more than you do Bradley Beal, even though Bradley Beal can also shoot. But again, I have to see it. I have to see what the shot diet is going to be, because KD is a mid-range oriented guy. Bradley Beal is a mid-range oriented guy. Devin Booker is a mid-range oriented guy. And if you're telling me that Bradley Beal is going to be their guy to get to the basket when you're playing teams that actually have strong point of attack defenders to stop you from doing that, it feels like they're just going to invite the mid-range shot. And if you have 3 guys that want to take that shot, if it's there, we have to see how that holds itself up over a whole series. Obviously, they have firepower.
My question with that is that if you're placing the point attack defender on Bradley Beal, I think that's working more into the Suns' advantage, because you're actually defending the 3rd most dangerous player on the team and not, KD or D-Book. So I think that you wouldn't have capable defenders to deal with KD and D-Book if you're going to be putting some of your resources into Bradley Beal. I think the best you should have done, which is try and put your best defenders on those 2 players, and then live with what production Bradley Beal does against your team. Essentially, you're focusing on D-Book and KD and letting Bradley Beal and the rest of the team try and beat you, if you get what I'm saying. I still think that Bradley Beal will still be able to beat your team anyways. But
I was just about to say, I don't even think Bradley Beal is even like as outside of like him being like the ball handler. I don't think he's like that much of a factor when it comes to like what the Phoenix Suns want to do, because it's going to run through D-Book and KD primarily. Bradley Beal is mainly just there in case all else fails. And quite as the more I'm looking at his stats, Bradley Beal is a playoff dropper. Y'all realize that?
I mean, lately, yeah, that's fair. But I mean, it's not going to be the same type of role.
He has one season, one postseason, the 17-18 season, where it went like 6 games with Toronto. Outside of that,
so instead of when he's playing against another playoff dropper, he rises.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's looking a little tough out here. But man, we appreciate you being here, man. Gift, I know you gotta go for your stream. Make sure to tap in. Can you let them know what to check in with you, bro?
Yeah. So basically, you can tap in for all NBA stuff on my YouTube channel at Get the Hoops. I have a podcast I do as well that's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Same name, Gifted Hoops. I'm trying to cramp the rest of my analysis of all 30 teams to this week. Season starts in like 8 days. I've covered pretty much every team outside of the Wizards, the Hawks, and I did like 3 podcasts today on those. So expect those to be dropping at some point during this week. And that's really it for me. I appreciate Zeno inviting me here on the podcast.
Yeah.
I love what you guys are doing with that stuff. You're staying consistent with that. And honestly, making content out of nothing for the offseason was very difficult. Most creators just pack it up and say, I'll be back when the season starts. You guys are going to have a leg up on many other people because of that. So dope stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Hey, and this is the last question we ask all of our guests every time.
Yeah.
Can we expect you to return during the season?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure.
Sure is crazy. All right.
You see these old people.
Okay.
That's
right.
hilarious.
That's crazy. All right, Brody. Well, you take care, bro.
Stay safe.
Yeah, we just
I do not like that. I do not like that gifted and Justin doing, man.
all right, shut up. Anyway, so
You guys think way too alike. That makes me sick.
it's nice. It's nice to have somebody around that don't think I'm crazy. All right, so we got so as far as what the Suns did this offseason, here I'll share my screen real quick in 1 second. I just realized I could do this, by the way. So, like you'll be proud of me. Oh,
I mean, when I went back and I looking at it, he's saying he's a playoff dropper when he's only dropping like the word playoff dropper he's using are too much of a harsh of words, because when you sit down and realize the positions he's in, really and truly, Bradley Beal isn't that much of a playoff dropper, because like in 2020-21, which is the Westbrook season, he literally went from 31.3 to 30 points flat. The only reason why he was inefficient or less efficient than in the regular season is that his 3-point shot just fell off a cliff. That's literally it. Like as an Oscar from the field, he was pretty much fine.
But he wasn't giving you much as outside of his 3-point shooting, like outside of his scoring ability. I'm sorry, outside of his scoring ability, he wasn't really giving you much either.
That was his main role on the team, is to be the main scorer, because
exactly. So if you're not giving nothing as far as a score, if you're not giving much as a scorer,
once again, I was saying that he is a playoff dropper, but the word using playoff dropper for him slightly declining in value is crazy to me.
It's not slightly declining though.
It was.
Okay, so in the 2020-21 season, yes, where he shot 45%. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he was averaging just as many turnovers as he did assists.
So 15.
So him having the ball in his hand. So basically, what I take from that, because I remember watching that series against the Philadelphia 76ers, that was really Russell Westbrook producing everything that Bill had going around him. Like the looks that he had were from Russell Westbrook. Now, fair enough, if the nigga's still taking like tough jump shots and stuff like that, like it ain't really much you can say about that. But like what Bradley Beal benefited off of was the open opportunities Russell Westbrook gave him. So he did drop off, because when he was given the ball for him to be able to make plays, he either turned the ball over or resulted in the 3-point shot that obviously didn't go in, because he shot 21.9% from the 3-point line.
Yeah, that nigga's 3-point shot just fell off a cliff. Golly. But back to the
But yeah, okay. So as far as the offseason goes with the Phoenix Suns, they traded away DeAndre Ayton to Portland. They lost out on Darius Bazley. They lost out on Bismack Biyombo, Torrey Craig, Jock Landale. Jock Landale left him to go to Houston. Chris Paul left to go to Washington and then to Golden State. Cameron Payne, Terrence Ross.
Wait, scroll back up a little bit again. I want to see that again. Scroll up. Traded to San Antonio, waived, free agent, now in Milwaukee. That's crazy. They did not like this nigga.
Yeah, niggas did fuck with him. But he's here. He's here in Milwaukee. Yay. Anyway, so they got Terrence Ross. They left Terrence Ross on the table. Landry Shamet as well. TJ Warren. Now, my quick question. I didn't watch Phoenix until they got into the postseason. because KD wasn't playing up until like in. How good was Terrence Ross when they got him out of the buyout?
Pretty sure he was mid, and that's why they traded him.
They didn't trade him; they
was
just let the nigga go.
No, I mean, no, that's what I meant. But like, they just let him go because it was quite
Oh.
mid. I think it was
Okay.
just being a shot chucker. To be fair, he is a shot chucker, but
He is a shot chucker.
I think they just didn't seem that they needed the offense. And it's probably that they don't need the offense with the amount of firepower they have on the team. And
How
he's
bad
not
of a
providing
defender
much
is
defense.
how bad of a defender is Terrence Ross?
How bad a defender is Terrence Ross? Let's move on from this conversation. Oh
Okay,
boy,
gotcha.
that boy's a bad defender.
They gave me my answer, but they swapped out a bad defender in Terrence Ross for a good quality defender in Grayson Allen. They got Udoka Azubuike, Keita Beta-Diop, what I told you guys about earlier. Bradley Beal, who know the All-Star from Washington. Bobo, the sensation from I forget where the fuck he's from, but he finally found a place in Phoenix where his skill set actually is utilized. It can be utilized in theory. Better than it definitely was in Denver, and even more than it was in Orlando, because I feel like Orlando still had a leash on him even still. They also got Drew Eubanks, Jordan Goodwin, Eric Gordon from the Clippers the past season, signing with them especially for a minimum, is quite as kept one of the biggest wins that they got this whole season, this whole offseason. That because Eric Gordon, like for you guys that don't remember, he as a 6-man is very valuable with his shot creation and his ability to shoot from the 3-point line. Like he's
a spacer, right?
Yeah, he's an amazing spacer. He's an amazing spacer.
Yeah,
he's an amazing.
What's called like 37. Well, when he was in the Clippers, 42% on 5 attempts in the playoffs. Okay, he was kind of mid in the playoffs, but yeah, he's still a good spacer. I was thinking, it's like, so he's been good as a spacer. Yeah, damn, I'm looking at his peak Houston years. Bro was spacing the floor like a monster. 40% on essentially 9 attempts is insane. Anyways, back to what he was talking about.
No, like you're basically stating everything that I was about to speak on. Like he for the part of his latter years in the NBA, from playing in Houston in the 16-17 season all the way up to now, he's been one of the better floor spacers, one of the better shot creators around the perimeter that you can ask for to come off the bench. And the fact that they got him for minimum. You can't say enough about it. Now defensively, he's gonna be another liability, but we ain't gonna talk about it.
Oh yeah, he fell off defensively, man. He fell off sad.
Yeah, Keon Johnson from Portland to Phoenix. They traded for him in the DeAndre Ayton trade, I believe, along with Nasir Little. They signed Metu from.
Whoa! Don't skip over Nasir Little, a great hustle guy. He knows how to play defense as well. He's actually a good rebounder. Respect Nasir Little. What's going on?
Yeah, okay. I was going to leave it to you. Okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When you just skipped over him like he doesn't exist.
Right. Oh, like you were going to skip over this next name I was going to say. They got Yusuf Nurkic in the trade from DeAndre Ayton.
Mid.
Along with Yuta Watanabe. Now, here's one thing I do want to say about these two players, and Metu and Watanabe. Metu, when he playing for Sacramento, he was actually like quite as kept a pretty solid floor spacer. And he's very willing to like crash out towards the rim. Now, does that mean that it's the like?
Does he know that Shibezi Metu shot 23% on less than 1 3?
I was just about. Wait, no, he shot 58% last season.
On the
like
field. At the field.
Oh, from the 3. You talking about from the 3?
Yes, you said spacer.
Oh! I'm sorry. I was my bad. What I meant to Metu is the fact that he's willing to crash out. So I combined Watanabe and Metu. Metu is willing to crash out to go into the rim. Watanabe is the floor spacer. Where like I think for Brooklyn,
he doesn't know.
Watanabe's not a floor spacer.
No. I'm just doing the look at my PFP.
Oh! This nigga put a finger to me. Pause.
Pause. What?
Pause.
you're wilding out, dog. Wilding out, dog.
Pause.
All right. Oh, Yuta
No, but
Watanabe is one of
Watanabe
the
shot,
best 3-point shooters.
yeah,
One of the best
Watanabe
3-point
shot
shooters.
44% from the 3-point line on low volume. But something tells me, even if you increase this volume, I'm just taking a wild shot in the dark right here, he'd still be efficient. Maybe not 44%.
I'll be real with you. If you've been paying attention to him on the Nets, especially when KD, when he was playing with KD and the big three, you can see the growth in his game every season. Literally every season he was on the Brooklyn Nets. Oh wait, he's already been there for this season. Whoops,
he was only for only last season.
But yeah, have you seen that? You see the growth in his defense. He's actually gotten a better defender, and then the spacing that he gave on that team. I'm telling you this now. Like you could see in his game that like outside of the first year, every year he's been in the league, he's slowly like progressing in what's called 3-point shooting, like his attempts. But I'm telling you this now, at a certain point, he's gonna be playing more minutes and he's gonna be attempting like 3, 4, maybe even 5 threes. You're gonna start seeing he is that type of shooter. He's a very good shooter, in my opinion. He just doesn't have enough because he's not like that good of a defender. That's the only issue.
Yeah, and that's the only reason why he only played like 16 minutes last season for Brooklyn. But they re-signed Damian Lee, Stephen Curry's stepbrother, Saban Lee, nobody knows him, and Josh Okogie, which you heard my co-host Tier Zeno speak about him, and he's not too fond of him. So
hey, tell him to make a 3 challenge. Impossible.
That is that is the Phoenix Suns off season, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, they had a very good off season that answered questions that nobody really had for them. But it's always good to like nobody had really true questions about oh, you want to bring it back up?
Yeah. Oh, you wanted to take off? Got you.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean they basically did. It was basically everything they did. But they essentially answered the question as far as like their depth, which I don't think was as much of a question for people. Like maybe a couple signings would have been good, but they just went all out.
The funny thing is, we completely forgot to ask Gifted about his prediction and expectations. W.
The reason why I didn't ask him that is because I started to look at the time and be like, oh, well, and what are we gonna do? But no. So when we're talking about Phoenix, I feel like this offseason basically set them up for a regular season where they should be cruising. They should be a top 3 seed just off a default of talent and reliability. They're going to consistently have like players
reliability with KD and D-Book.
Reliability with Bradley Beal and D-Book. I think KD is reliable for the minutes that he's on the court, but I don't think he's going to be playing. I think he's going to be playing much more than, let's say, 65 games, and I think that that's okay. Because I think that you still have pieces there that can be able to not necessarily give you what KD gives you on the floor, but can be like a substantive fill-in for like 2 to 3 games at a time that KD's not going to be there, so that you could be able to still have like the wins accrued to get you into the top 3 seed. So I think they set them up for the regular season. Now, as far as the postseason goes, I did not care for any of the moves that they made, even the Bradley Beal move. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because their problem in the postseason had nothing to do with doubling down on mid-range shooting. It had nothing to do with accessing even more star power. That was not the problem.
Defense and spacing and rim finishing. Defense, spacing, and rim finishing.
Defense, the volume of 3-point shooting, rim finishing, and depth. They got the depth part down, but they still do not have the defenders. They still do not have the 3-point spacing. Like as far as like volume wise, because even with Yuta Watanabe, we're giving him credit. He only took 2 threes last season. Now he averaged 2 threes last season. So like you're asking essentially debook KD and Bradley Beal to play a different brand of basketball that, albeit they can, in theory, be capable of doing because all three of them are good to great three-point shooters, but that's not their game. That's not what makes them a threat. What makes them a threat is their operation within the mid-range. And I think the only player between the three that are like true like rim finishers is Bradley Beal. That's not a good thing. Because that's only one out of the three. So and he's not the playmaker that's required for him to be able to maximize what they need. I don't know. I'm looking at this roster, and in regular season theory, they're going to be amazing. But in the postseason, when you go up against the Los Angeles Lakers, the Denver Nuggets, truth be told, even Golden State, they can lose very easily. Very easily. Your thoughts, Zeno?
This is, you see, we've had this conversation on Friday. They're gonna remind me of their thoughts on the game. It's gonna remind me really like the Mavericks and what's the other team? The Kings. And I want you to listen to me before I carry on. All three of these teams are heavily slanted towards offense. And they pretty much have said, forget about that defense. That never happened. So it's going to be interesting to see how lethal can an offense be without actually so how lethal an offense can be, but how long is that going to sustain you throughout a postseason? Because I don't think that this team is going to be able to win a chip due to the fact that they don't have the defense for it. And then they're going to have to sit down and try and get a good defensive center. That's the issue, in my opinion. I think they really just needed a good defensive center. If they did have a good defensive center, I would actually have more faith in this team, but they don't have this defensive center, and I'm confused about why they haven't tried to look for one. Instead, they went for Nurkic. And I get it, the obedience part, but at the end of the day, when your team is already not that good defensively, removing one of your better defenders on your team is, especially your best defensive center, is like a cardinal sin. I don't get it. So
I don't think it's a cardinal sin because I again, like if somebody doesn't want to be there, like this is for the same reason why when it came to Atlanta, I was just praying like get John Collins out of there. Like but
he was a minus on both sides. He had a horrible spacing season.
Because he
got worse defensively. He
didn't want to be there. The effort, the when you don't want to be somewhere, what you are typically like showcasing as far as like your talent and stuff like that gets hindered because you don't want to be there. So you stop caring to work as hard on the defensive end. You stop caring to be in practice on time, or being in practice focusing on the things that you need to focus on. Like John Collins, up until I want to say 2 seasons ago, was working on developing a 3-point shot. 2 seasons later, and he put forth the upward trajectory he was showing all of a sudden just plummets. That's not a coincidence. That's because he didn't want to be there. So that's what I'm saying is DeAndre Ayton being there, who's to say that if he would have been there this season, that could, even if he's the more talented player, that could have still derailed the Phoenix Suns because he would have showcased the lack of care for being on the floor. Like if he's as a rim protector, he just started to not care and let players just run by and get easy layups. That's hindering you. So you were going to have to move him at some point. Better you move him for more assets, because even in the trade, even you acknowledge they didn't get the rim protector. They got Nasir Little though. That's a young player that could be able to give you access, and that opened the door for them to be able to make more key signings like Eric Gordon, Bobo, those type of players.
Yes, good.
Yeah, so like that like it benefited like. For them getting rid of somebody that didn't want to be there, they got a lot more than they possibly even thought that they could on the back end. Maybe not from that trade, but like collateral.
True.
That's what I'm saying. But okay, so Zeno, I want to ask you, what is the key storyline for you when it comes to this Phoenix Suns team?
So defense.
That's a storyline.
let me stop trolling.
It's a storyline for you, nigga.
Like, give me like an example of a storyline so I can see.
So, like for instance, my storyline when I think of the Phoenix Suns is a lot of people were saying last season that KD's drop off against the Boston Celtics was even further evidence to like give up on him as a playoff performer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went into the postseason this past season, and he didn't necessarily look the best version of himself compared to his regular season self. And that's even more of a reason for people to like, be on that bandwagon of KD is a little washed. This season is the story is like the final like chapter of whether the story ends with people realizing, hey, he ain't changed. It's just mere circumstance, or this is the season where everybody looks and says, no, he's washed now. He can't do what he used to. And I think that's low-key been like the battle that like people have been fighting with KD. Because you have some people that think that KD is still the KD from like Warriors days, even with the ACL injury. Or you have people that like think that he's able to be as mobile as he once was, even though like he just isn't. Like you can visibly see he can't do it. Like
people, on a side note, anyone who thinks that, I just don't get it. Like it's very clear who KD is at this point of time. He is not clearly the same athlete that he once was, and saying that he is just disingenuous, in my opinion. But hey,
he's disingenuous to what he once was, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. So like that's my story. My storyline is whether is KD still capable to be the best player on a championship level team. He doesn't have to win the championship. He doesn't have to win the championship for him to showcase that. He just has to produce at the level that we know KD can produce at.
I think he still can, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what this season will show. That's the storyline. So that's what I mean by like.
Do you think another
player?
Karen. Second.
No, I was about to say, is D Book a top 10 player? That's a story. That's a storyline. You know what I'm saying? That you're going to be, that you would monitor this season of like, if D Book if I say that D Book is a top 10 player, if he doesn't play like it, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a storyline that you'll be watching out for.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is the team D Books or the KD? Is it KD's in the sense that who is going to be the number one on the team? If you talk about storyline, that would be my storyline.
Okay, I like that.
I'll be genuinely curious because I'm like, is KD going to take a step back and realize that D-Book is ascending, or is D-Book going to take a step back and believe in KD's prolificness as a scorer?
I like that. Another storyline that I'll put out there is KD closer to the top 5 or further from the top 5? Because I think so, like we had that debate earlier in the show where we were talking about a case can be made that he can be better than Joel Embiid, which will put him in the top 5. And so I believe that's not the case. You believe it is. So I think this season could answer that question as well as to if he produces the way that we believe that he can, then he could be in the top 5. But if he doesn't, it just further gives evidence to like people like me that believes that he's not that player he once was. All right, we got somebody in the chat. KD used to be so explosive. Absolutely. The thing about it is when he dealt with that ACL injury, one of the things that has his career still going like at the same like top 10 level that it is the fact that he took a step back on the athleticism and made himself more of a jump shooter. Because a lot of people don't realize what made him such a elite scorer, one of the greatest scorers of all time, wasn't just the fact that he was a 6'10 player with guard-like skills. It was the fact that he had elite rim pressure along with elite mid-range ability, along with elite three-point shooting ability. So he had all three. But now at this point in his career, he only has 2 out of the 3. And that's okay. Like, that's still okay. He's still an amazing scorer. I think last time we talked about, he's like a top 3 scorer, right? Like there's only 2 people ahead of him as a scorer in the league.
I think in the league, yeah, around.
Yeah, in the league, there's only 2 scorers that's better than him.
So I think 2 or 3. He's definitely in the conversation to be top 5. So I would say.
Yeah. So like for him at this point in his career to only be like a mid-range threat and a 3-point threat and occasionally a rim finishing threat, that's perfectly fine. It's just about how you build around him. That's the key. So yeah. Let's see. Where you speak. Okay, so the last thing that we got is we have predictions and expectations before we get to the viewers' questions and answers. Please, guys, everybody that's in, please make sure to like and subscribe, and also put in the chat any questions that you might have. And we any questions or any comments that you might have about the 2 teams that we spoke about, that being the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns, and we'll get to it before we close out. All right. So
also put in the chat L Justin. Thank you very much.
I did a damn good job today. All right, fuck you, dude. Anyway, so predictions and expectations. Zeno, do you want me to start? Or you gonna start?
I can start this one. I can actually see them being the champions this season. I can actually genuinely see that. They have the talent necessary to actually pull that off. I'm actually kind of high on their scoring capability. So I actually do see them having the ability. And if it comes to the matchups that they do get, they could possibly actually win this. But I also can see them getting out in the second round. I can't say first round because I'm sorry, that offense is way too potent to be getting put out in the first round. I'd be genuinely surprised to get packed up in the first round. I'll be real with you. So and I think that's what my best and worst situation is, in my opinion.
I could see them making it to the conference finals. I'm sorry, I can't see the Phoenix Suns, even with Bradley Beal, beating the Denver Nuggets or the Los Angeles Lakers. I just can't. I can see them getting to the Western Conference Finals, but I could also see them getting knocked out of the second round as well. Really, to be honest with you, the only 2 teams in the Western Conference that like hold their fate in their hand is Denver and LA. If they don't go up against those 2 into the Western Conference Finals, they'll make it. They'll make it. So yeah, they'll make it to the finals. But then they got to go up against Milwaukee or Boston, and I'm sorry, they just don't have enough to beat them either. So I don't see them winning the championship, but I guess I see them making the finals. Okay, there we go. I can see them making the finals. In a world where LA and Denver don't make it to the Western Conference Finals, I can see them making it to the finals. But if they go up against Denver or LA in the conference finals or the second round, they get knocked out.
Enough
said. All right. So, do we have any questions or anything like that? Anybody wanna speak on something? Oh, it don't look like
KD used to be so explosive. That's true. And with his length, he was able to finish and be crafty around defenders. But when he lost that athleticism, it was just easier to stay in front of him, which made the angles that he used to really beat people to harder for him to really beat people to. And that's why.
Hey! Thanks.
Glazer. Hey, you need to. Oh, I'm not gonna say this to Daryl, but you, Daryl, Glazer.
Hey, I like it. I like it. No, no. What was one of the things that KD mainly benefited off of to you when he was in when he was in his more athletic days? To me, I feel like he benefited off of pin downs far more often.
Fair enough. I kind of agree.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Okay. Oh, also before we leave, Devin Booker propaganda that's pushed. If KD,
no,
what? What?
no,
Why not?
no.
But he wasn't in the top 10. I gotta say his name at some point, man.
That's an insane thing to say.
Come
Bro's
on,
complaining that he doesn't get to glaze him. That's insane.
like, come on, bro. D Book is gonna be a top 10 player for sure. Like, it's gonna be unquestioned after this season. He's gonna be a top 10 player. And if he's not, all hell Anthony Edwards, because that's the only way he doesn't enter the top 10. Is if Anthony Edwards.
All hail Anthony Edwards is okay.
There's no, because I don't. All right, to be honest with you, if we're gonna keep it frank, I don't think Shea is better than those two. I don't think Shea.
Does he know?
I love Shea, but I don't think he's better than those two. But I think Anthony Edwards. I think the way that Anthony Edwards can be better than D Book is his further improvement on the defensive end, and then we got action. But
we forget his soon to be prolific rim finishing. Hello?
No. I think he's already a prolific rim finisher, though.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think he's already a prolific finisher. So yeah, I think, but like I think D Book is going to be a top 10 player. If he's not a top 10 player, it has to be because Anthony Edwards entered himself into the top 10 conversation, and then it's GG's at that point because it was inevitable that Anthony Edwards was going to surpass my boy. But it's whatever. The D Book scoring mindset change. Oh, here we go. The D Book scoring mindset change y'all briefly talked about earlier was interesting. Yeah, Zeno, can you further elaborate? Yeah, can you further elaborate on that?
So, if you paid attention to D-Book this season, he does this. Usually, D-Book kind of plays off what the defense gives him, and then he plays it like that. Kind of like if you watch Kyrie's thing is that he literally plays the way the defense reacts to him. So if he does a dribble move and the defender backs off, he's like, okay, I got the separation to take a shot. If not, he try and drives in to get a little bit of separation in mid-range or just goes straight to the hole. What he does is dependent on what the defender does, and he counters that. Then you have players like Embiid, Jokic, KD, who don't care what the defenders do. They get to their spot and then they just rise over and elevate, and they essentially dare you to try and stop that shot. That's the difference between a dominant scorer and a more, not passive, what's the word I'm looking for? Like going with the flow, like flow
more,
like water.
More reactive scorer.
That's what I'm looking for, reactive scorer. Because the dominant scorers don't care what you do as a defender. They are going to go to what they want to go to, their pattern and move. You need to stop that. A more reactive scorer is essentially, he still has his go-to moves, but he's still reacting to what you are doing on the defensive end. So he's waiting for you to react, and then he will then counter that and go into his move. For example, if you watch Kyrie, that's literally Kyrie's MO. He's watching you, seeing what you're going to do to his dribble moves. Then he gets to his space and takes his shot. D-Book has become more of a KD scorer, because if you watch D-Book, he's not trying to react to the defense. He's saying, okay, I'm getting to the nail. I'm getting to the elbows. You, defender, stop me. Stop me from getting to that. But I'm telling you this now, you can't stop me. That's literally what he's been doing throughout the whole postseason, and that's what you've been watching when he was doing the elevation. Remember when he was trying to get to the elbow and two defenders in his waist, and he just jumped and elevated.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You love that play.
That play is so cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. As much as I'm not a D-Book glazer, that shit was so fire. Watching it in first person, I was like, "What is this guy doing?" Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I was like, that was magic. He was sniffing at that white. Oh, I was like, that was crack. I was crazy, dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so surprised.
See, you don't say crack on fucking
Oh yeah, my fault. My fault. It was not. It was not that. It was the white stuff. It was white powder.
It was sugar. It was sugar.
Hey, yeah, it was flour. Hey man, don't worry about it. It's flour. Yeah, I need to see it.
Oh my god, man.
That's
Oh wow. Oh god. Okay.
2023. Wait.
No.
I'm trying to see if
What you
postseason. I want to see if it's here so I can actually show it. It was insane in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. The thing about it that like I love, and the thing is, like Zeno will tell you, like since we started the podcast, the more we talked about it, the more I'm like I've become a D Book like fan because I think he has it within him to be a top 10 caliber player. I just don't think he'll get the opportunities that's required for him to like further develop his game in the areas that's required for him to be in the top 10. Like I think as a scorer, I don't think there's much else he needs. I think it's the playmaking part and the and further like developing on the defensive end. But D Book is 26. If he don't got no defense developed at this point, I don't know what to tell y'all. You know, and I think playmaking, I think he's developed, but I think he's developed more of a playmaking with his on his side of the court. I don't think that makes you a true playmaker if you can't playmake like routinely on both sides. So like his part of the court that he operates is on like the right side of the court. Because that's what Chris Paul doesn't. Chris Paul normally operates on the left side of the court. So when D Book was practicing on his playmaking ability, he was practicing within the area that he normally operates. So he got better passing while on the move on the right wing, passing through corner, doing corner passes, pick and roll passes where he was like rolling onto like the right side and he would just do like a quick drop off to DeAndre Ayton. Like he's gotten better in that sense, but where he still lacks that if you paid attention, you saw in the playoff was the fact that whenever you put him on the left side of the court, he becomes predictable. He's going to do those things that Zeno's trying to find where I know the play that you're talking about, Zeno, he did that on the left side of the wing because if he tried to pass it, he was probably going to turn it over.
I found it. I think I found the play. It might be.
It was on the left side of the court, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me show. It says D Book is not human. Share. There's
D
this
Book
one here.
D Book is not human. It's crazy. How did you do this? Wait, hold on. There we go. Okay, I was like, wait, what?
I was like, damn. There's no way bro is doing that. Like,
wait, I didn't see it. Go back.
What do you mean?
Make it full screen.
Like, this is the type of stuff he was doing. He's just elevating in front of them. Like,
yeah.
Because certain players, like for example, KD wouldn't try and do that because he's like, okay, I can get a more efficient shot in the mid range. Why am I going to take a heavily contested three? But D Book at that time was so unconscious. He said, I see space, even though it's like 1 inch space. I see space. I'm just going to rise and elevate above you, and you can't stop me. That type of shit was so insane to me. It's sorry, that play was so crazy.
It's insane. So let me ask you this: if his scoring output is that caliber, man's consider. We agree.
No. If his scoring output was that good, yeah, he's probably the best scorer we've ever seen. So you need to lower it a little bit more.
No. I was about to say if it's sustainable for him maintaining that volume, not that.
No, even at that volume, because the volume is like 20 shots. Bro was not shooting that much, I'm pretty sure. Let me even check because I don't want to talk him out.
You're talking about in the postseason? In the postseason?
Yeah, in the postseason. Let me check.
In the postseason, he took 21 shots.
He took 22 shots.
22 if you round up, yeah.
Yeah, so like...
And the majority of them were mid-range or to the rack.
Let me explain to you how insane it is. He scored 6 more points than he did in his first postseason, and they had 0.4 more field goal attempts. So, bro had less than one more field goal attempts and scored 6 more points, 6.4 to be exact.
Well, 14,
yeah, I don't believe
14% better efficiency from the field.
Yeah, I don't believe in that, buddy. Not gonna lie.
You shot 50-50. Oh my
yes.
god.
Yes.
He shot 50-50, 86.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, if you actually will do this for you, because if you remove the last 2 games because he was injured in those 2 games, the stats are even more insane. Yeah.
Wow.
One sec.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Even I can admit, like, Devin Booker can't maintain that level, but I do think he can. I think as a scorer, being like a potential 27 point per game scorer, even with KD and Bradley Beal there, I think that's feasible. I just don't think like he will further develop on the playmaking again. And to like people say all the time, like it was only like 11 games. Like, okay, that's fair to say. It was only 2 rounds. But Devin Booker showed the ability to play defense while giving you that level of offense.
He's playing defense on mid competition. Let's keep it real.
He was playing defense, period. And that's more than what people were saying about him before then.
Defense on mid competition.
By the
way,
even before Chris Paul, even before KD got there, when Chris Paul went down, we still understood that because the Phoenix Suns were still I want to say they were a top 10 defense or a top 15 defense. Top 15 for sure. I think it was a top.
Yeah,
I'm trying to see them. Oh no, I was saying that to say like that's not that wasn't like just because of DeAndre Ayton's rim protection or or just or even Mikal Bridges and his defense, because I think the fact that Devin Booker was asked to take on the task that Chris Paul was originally given when he first got there as like a point of attack defender alongside Mikal Bridges. He took that challenge along while still being the best scorer on the team, along while taking on the playmaking of the team.
I just want to make sure
everything to that Phoenix Suns team.
Yeah, I just want to go back to what we was talking about earlier about specifically his efficiency in the playoffs. Yeah. Yes, so he shot 61% from the field, 51% from 3 on 6 attempts, and 87% from the free throw line, and scored 36.8 points. I just checked the true shooting. This is 71% true shooting.
Isn't that better than Jokic?
I'm pretty sure it's better than Jokic this postseason.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I don't think you understand how unconscious he was in this postseason, and it does, and that's how I know you're trying to say volume, because the volume is not that, like, the volume is fine, but the reason why this was so insane was not due to volume; it was due to the efficiency, how elite he was at putting the ball in the basket.
No, but even if he didn't. No, what I'm saying is even if he didn't maintain that efficiency, even if he doesn't maintain that efficiency and he goes back to his average, true shooting, which is like 60.1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he still maintains that average while having KD and Bradley Beal there, right? You could still make the case that he's a top 10 player, right?
Either way, I just checked compared to his first his first time in the playoffs. That is a whopping 16% true shooting difference.
Yeah, because I think you told me it was like 50-something% true shooting.
Yeah, it was 55.83%, and the other one was 71%. That is like, I don't know how to explain to you how insane that is. Like, now I mean for the people at home, like, how do I explain this? Also, 16% is like.
It's important to also state, like, this further gives evidence to the rub that he got from KD.
Mm-hmm.
Further evidence.
Yeah, because as people like you need to understand that, KD was giving him that magic rub. Pause.
I need to know?
Pause. What I just said.
No, like, I need to know that he was getting that rub?
Oh, no. So I'm not going to lie to you. Sometimes the glaze that you give for D-Book makes me sick, so I have to say it. But Yeah.
Because I talk about what he did when KD wasn't there, the nigga just be like, "Oh, okay. Why does he know that?"
To be fair, D-Book has been one of my favorite players ever since like DeAndre Ayton was in the league. I don't know why, but I was like a big DA fan when their sons were like young and coming up. So I was paying attention to them. So like I know what DeAndre Ayton was flashing, which is why I'm sad when Chris Paul came. To be fair, Chris Paul did elevate them instantly into a finals team.
Immediately.
I'm not about, hey man.
Nobody saw it coming. Nobody saw it coming. I
didn't either. I saw them becoming like a mid playoff team. I did not see them becoming a finals. I did not.
Yeah.
And I still remember the DA in the postseason. People weren't talking about him, but he was heavily efficient. When
you told me that, I was like, wait, I don't remember that.
I remember it watching him just not miss anything. He was not missing a touch at the rim. The only issue was like when he reached the finals. Oh yeah, it was MIA. You did not know where he was, bro. I was like, damn, where's DA?
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't blame a negative for not being able to, beat the best in the world at that time. Like Giannis is the best in the world at that time, and you expect him. You expect DeAndre Ayton in his first postseason to then do what he did against not bad players, but bad defenses. Like as far as the big men he went up against, like they weren't defenders. Yeah, he's it's a difference. And then you go up against
there was. Oh, okay. I mean, Zubats is not that bad of a guard. Fair enough. I just realized. Yeah, he played against the injury riddled AD. Played against Jokic. Played against Zubats. You're right. Yeah, he shot. Boy shot 70% from the field. Jesus Christ!
Look, I'm looking at it right now. He shot 6, even with like the bad 6 games. Not even 6 games. I think it was like 4 against the Bucks. No, it was 5. It's 5. 5 games against the Bucks. He still shot 65% from the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's at 1.9 free throw attempts. I think I saw.
Hey, quiet as kept though. Can we talk about how DeAndre Ayton needs to develop as a
73.4% true shooting when you remove the Milwaukee series? Just want to say that. Yeah, that he was unconscious. I think no one was talking about it today, but unconscious behavior right there.
Like I'm not gonna lie to you. This is going to be more of a thing I need to watch out for because the more I see, it started with me seeing Jaren Jackson Jr. stat line.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good, bad, or neutral thing that majority big men that we've been talking about, like over the last few weeks, they average more turnovers than they do assists?
Before you say that, World Finals run, let's be for real. Yeah, to be fair, every team that they played against, either the best or the second best player was injured. The first round, both AD and LeBron was injured. The second round, he didn't have Jamal Murray. I think they didn't even have MPJ at that time. And then the third round, they didn't have Kawhi.
MPJ, they just didn't have Murray.
Oh yeah, well then didn't have Kawhi in the third round as well. So I understand where you're coming from.
I understand where you're coming from as well, but see the thing is, although I would like to say that like it got an asterisk to it, calling it just like a fraud finals run. I feel like it's sort of disingenuous because the way that they were playing, it didn't matter. Like because even with LeBron
in the regular season as well, they were like if I remember in the regular season, they were still like a machine when it comes down into the clutch. Was it that season? The season?
No, it was the next season. It was the next season.
Oh, the next season where they were like, anytime was in the clutch, they went like, I'm pretty sure it was like 17-2, and I was like, bro, that is insane number.
But even with that the season prior, forgetting the regular season, in the postseason, it didn't. Even when LeBron and AD were on the court, like the games were more competitive, but Phoenix still were the better team. Just because it wasn't just D-Book, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton showing out. You still had players like Mikal Bridges that showed up big, Cam Johnson showing up big. Cameron Payne, when Chris Paul went out for like a couple games or a game or two, He was showing up, showing productivity. That was when people were talking about him as a quality backup guard. So like that Phoenix Suns team, it didn't matter who they went up against, healthy or not. They were the best team that the West had to offer that season. It was just they went up against a better team that the East had to offer.
Yeah. All right. Check our DMs, by the way. Okay, so Payne was cooking PG. No, I'm not gonna lie to you. PG was the best player in that series. So if you was really watching that series, PG was the best player in the
PG show. That's when PG opened himself up until like the 10th spot conversation.
No, I'm pretty sure it wasn't. But
that was that year, wasn't it? That was when people were like, he finally showed up in the postseason. The regular season was fine. Yeah, people were talking about.
No one was telling you that PG was a top 10. Nope. He was not a top 10 player. I think he was on the fringe as usual because Dame wasn't even a top 10 player. I'm sorry.
He had the 10th spot then.
I'm pretty sure Dame was the 10th spot, or it was no, that was the year that my boy Jim Butler got packed up in the first round, right?
Round, yeah.
So it was, I would have said Dame. Dame probably was.
I need
to check this because I want to check.
I think Paul George had that 10th spot. Well, no, he didn't have the 10th spot, but like he entered himself in the conversation of having the 10th spot. That's what I'm saying. But
yeah, so it was Jokic in 2021, right?
Yeah, after the 21 season. So it was 2022 season going into 2022.
2021 going into 2022. Curry, Jokic, Anderson, what's called Giannis, KD, James, Doncic, Harden, Embiid, Lillard, and then
21 season had Harden still in the top 10?
Yeah, because that's the 2022 was the
21-22 season. That was no.
Oh, you talking about 2020?
Yeah, 2022. In 2022, it was James Harden had the hamstring injury. Remember?
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, no. Even then, because remember, James Harden was an MVP caliber. I knew I wasn't wild now. Yeah, Harden was like an MVP caliber player that season. What are you talking about? That was his best playmaking season. While not really losing much on offense.
I guess once he had the hamstring injury, I took him out.
Yeah. I think PG had a case to be a top 10 player, but I wouldn't really say that. But yeah, back to what we was talking about, bro. I forgot what we was talking about. Jesus.
No, Christ. that was literally it. Oh, look, he cooked the
Celtics. Who did?
I don't know, but he definitely did.
type shit.
All right, y'all. Well, that's gonna conclude this episode of the off season. This was a very, very good episode. Shout out to Gifted Hoops. Shout out to Zeno for getting Gifted Hoops there.
Yes. You can give me my praise. Yes.
We keep bringing in people to talk basketball, and we hope that we continue to elevate the notoriety of the show so that we can get more popular people, so that you guys can be able to talk to the people that you see on a regular basis on different platforms to come over here and be unfiltered with their thoughts and
yeah. Why is he? What's?
No, I did it. I kept like hiding it and putting it back. My fault.
Oh yeah, you mean.
But yeah, no. We hope to do that for you guys. We appreciate everybody that showed in. Shout out Fareez for commenting throughout the entire show. Shout out Daryl for joining the show. Shout out to
Daryl.
El Zeno. Shout out Mood for joining the show early on. WU. Thank everybody for okay, nigga. But we're gonna wrap this up. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Next Sunday is going to be a very, very, very busy episode. We plan on bringing in a few guests to help us talk about some of these shows, some of these teams, so that we don't get bored. This is the last 12 teams that we have to offer you guys to wrap up the off season before we start on the new season that will be occurring next Tuesday. So stay tuned for that. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Hoops to Sports. We have a big announcement that come your way in a couple months. So, yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Zeno, you got anything left to say?
Does he know?